Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, whatever time of day you've taken to join us. Thank you once again and welcome to another episode of A Word with Adam. I'm your host Adam Gerarda and joining me this week is the one and only Bustar Bronnum. How are you, Bustar?
How you doing?
I'm well, thanks, I'm well. Now, Bustar, I'm ripping the band-aid right off the start here. AWWA's last show this past weekend, you donned a referee shirt. Let's get straight into that. I understand it's been 8 years since you've wrestled. What was it like being back in the ring?
It's always good fun. I've always loved wrestling, and so anytime you get a chance to be part of it, you know, it's always good. I don't think there'd be too many people there that would recognise me, but it was good to get in the ring nonetheless. And when you've got a guy like Johnny Raddick playing the heel, you don't have to do much work. So yeah, it was pretty fun.
That's true. Did you find you'd forgotten any of the rules in the 8 years they've been off, or was it like putting the glove back on?
No, well, it's funny actually. When I was in the ring, I'm looking around, and you're trying to take it in a little bit as well. I was wrestling with Johnny Raddick, a guy I've known for a very long time, and Blase, a guy I've known for even longer. So you're sort of looking around, you're watching them, and I start thinking, all right, what are they going to do next? And thinking about their match, and then, oh yeah, I'm the ref, I'm supposed to be part of the show and entertaining and counting and all sorts of things like that, and you sort of get distracted sometimes. You get a bit of deer in the headlights. Just for a little bit, and then it all sort of comes back naturally. But thankfully, I haven't had to do much. I don't have to play a character when I'm out there. I've never had to play a character. I just
turn the volume up. Just
like every wrestler says, it's like you just go out there, turn it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Be a bit flamboyant and be a bit out there. But you're always going to have the best character when you're just being yourself.
Oh,
so so as long as I just kept playing myself and remembering that I'm in front of people, that was all I had to do really. And it's good fun. Enjoyed it.
Now you mentioned Blase. Obviously, he was your first tag team partner.
Yeah.
So maybe talk through that, and then we'll go backwards into what got you into wrestling. But what was it like being in that tag team? You mentioned that the two of you had two very unique roles in this team. So.
Yeah. Well, look, we were called B-Unit, just a complete rip-off of G-Unit. Being that we were hip-hop fans and that sort of thing, so we thought we'll play up that a little bit. Yep. It was good fun. We had a little bit of feud, you always end up feuding with your friends, in wrestling. Recently Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and that sort of thing. You end up feuding with your friends, you know them the best, you trust them, so you wrestle with them well. So we've had a bit of feud, but then we eventually team up. And that was good going down the road and having a little fun with that. It's always nice to know that every time you're in the ring, your mate's there. Yeah. And so it makes it fun. It definitely makes it fun. As far as roles in the team, Blas said to me actually on the weekend, he said, I said one of my favourite tag teams at the moment, I really love Enzo and Big Cass. They're just entertaining. Yep. And he said, well, that was B-Unit. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, well, you did all the talking and I did all the muscle work. And I was like, yeah, I suppose you're right. Yeah, that was kind of our roles in the team. I played the character and he was the technical guy. And that's what he was good at. He was always... People wanted to wrestle Blase because he would catch them. He's awfully strong.
I found that out myself. He's lifted me over his head before and I was like, wow, this man is ungodly strong.
Yes, it's pretty crazy. In high school when he was skinny, by today's standards,
So you
not that he put on weight or anything, it's just...
The two of you went to school together as well?
Yes, we went to high school together, so nice. He would go up behind the biggest guy in high school and put him in the torture rack and that sort of thing. Just always been freakishly strong. So yeah, when people wanted to wrestle, they would wrestle Blase. I can jump around, he'll catch me off the top rope and, he can suplex me and look after me safely and make sure everyone's alright. Blas is a good guy to wrestle, very technically sound. And I was an overactor and a character, so I was good to wrestle because I made everyone look good.
Yep.
I would always put guys over, although Coldavani might say otherwise, that I was always showing off and being a hot dog. But in my opinion, it was always my job to make the face look good. And that's what I tried to do every match.
Did you prefer working heel to face?
Heel was much more fun.
Yeah,
of course it is. Anyone who's playing a bad guy is fun, and it's a little bit easier because if you stuff up as a heel, it's okay, people boo you. But if you stuff up as a face, oops, you effed up, and you get a bit of heat for that from the crowd, and that doesn't help your face run. No. So being heel's easier, a bit more fun. But having said that, it is a good feeling having people cheer for you. You know the heel's done his job. If you're wrestling someone like Johnny, he does a great job being a heel. And people start chanting Buster, Buster, and maybe I'm doing a good job too, So that's definitely a good feeling because it's harder to get people to cheer your name in a positive sense, and when you do get that, you know you're doing a good job as a face. It's difficult to do.
Definitely. All right, well, let's go back even further. Where did the love of wrestling begin? Can you remember a match or a moment or?
I remember watching wrestling. I don't remember much from my childhood. I was just saying this to my family the other day. I don't remember a lot from between the age of 7 or less. But I remember watching late night wrestling, you know, the WWE Superstars on a Tuesday night or something that was on. And my dad used to tape it for me and I'd watch it. And I also remember saying to my dad, one day I want to grow up and be a wrestler. And his response was, "You're too small, forget about that." And I thought, nice dad. And then later on I also said, well, if I can't be a wrestler, I'm going to be a basketball player. And he said, well, you're too small, forget about that. And the two things I did in my life was I played basketball and I was a wrestler. So I don't know whether there was a bit of spite in there or what, but that's what I did. But yeah, so I loved it from a kid. Now, about 11 years old, we're still watching wrestling, and then it just, wrestling goes in waves, falls in and out of favour with you. And, teenage years were all about basketball and the NBA. And
that would have been in the heat of the Michael Jordan.
Oh yeah, definitely so. Yeah, the Michael Jordan. My team was this now defunct Seattle Supersonics. So,
good choice.
Yeah, picked a winning horse there. They were robbed of a championship, by the way. They had to go against Jordan's greatest team ever in the finals. But enough about that. But but later on in '97, Blase actually got me back into wrestling. He was watching it with his girlfriend at the time, and he said, "Oh, is wrestling on?" He goes, "Yeah, Hulk Hogan and that." She's like, "Hulk Hogan, he's a bad guy." And Steve was like, "What?" And so we started watching WCW, and who's this bad Hollywood Hulk Hogan, this bad guy, and it just drew us back in. Yeah. And we just got sucked in through year 11 and 12 in high school. We were just sucked into wrestling, and everything was, like I said, suplexes and racks on the basketball courts and things like that. So so that's where I got heavily back into it. Yep. A couple of years later, my brother's working at a plant nursery. And a guy he's working with, I still don't know who it is to this day, said that he went to a kickboxing gym and they were doing wrestling training there. And I said, "Oh, interesting." Went on down there, asked a few questions, "Can I start up wrestling please?" And they said, "All right, come in." And the rest is history. Just started training from then. A few months later, I had my first match with Blase in January of 2000, and then did it for years after that. So
what was the training cycle like back then?
Began on Friday nights, couple hours, Sunday afternoons, couple hours.
So just bumps and squats.
A lot of bumps, a lot of just chain wrestling. Yep. And practicing your bumps. That was pretty much it for the first few weeks and even a couple of months. Following that, we got our own gym, the Monster Factory, in Salisbury, and it turned into 3 nights a week. It's 5 nights a week, I'm pretty sure, but I went Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, and we'd end up from 6:30 to sometimes 11 o'clock at night. We'd still be there training, and we put a real lot of work. We obviously had a very big passion for it back then. So put a lot of work into our wrestling back then, and I feel like we had some pretty decent matches, and certainly you can look back and cringe on some of them and go, "Oh, that was poorly sold and that was poorly executed." But overall, I feel I was pretty happy with how most of them went. So
where was the first promotion you went to then?
The first promotion was PWSA, run by someone called Robin Plant, and she started up with Coldavani, the trainer, in cahoots with them, and so the first show was October '99. Featured Jag and Havoc and a bunch of old school Australian wrestlers, and then the first new era, I guess you'd call it, of South Australian wrestling was January of 2000, and that was all us new rookie guys. All got a shot on that show. Bustar vs. Blase was one of those matches, and it just sort of went from there, and monthly shows most of the time for a couple of years.
And then it progressed into the tag team from there, or?
A couple of years in, we said, we'd like to tag up, and so did a little turn against Johnny Radic. I had many feuds with him, hair versus hair match, and I was cheating my way through it. Out comes Blase to make the save. Yep. Turns on Johnny. B-Unit is born.
Nice.
So we cut his hair in the ring.
That's when he had his long...
Yeah, too long. It took forever. We were cutting it with scissors, and he walked out looking the same as he walked in. And it was hair all over the floor, and it was one of those moments where it feels like eternity when you're in the ring. You're like cutting. Why isn't this hair coming from? But the spot got over. It would have been a bit better if we had maybe had some clippers to go straight through the shave. Hindsight's 20/20.
What can you do? So you go into the tag team with Steve with Blast, and so how long was B-Unit a unit?
We must have gone a couple of years. We did the big 2004 NWA show at Thevenard Theatre, and I think we did the following show as well at Thevenard Theatre. So that's 2004. B-Unit was born in probably 2002, so we were in a couple of years there. It would have been towards end of 2004, 2005 that I stepped away for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I think
Blast. So what led to that? What led to you deciding to step away?
I think you just you just get sort of complacent, you know, and you're just doing this. You feel like you're doing the same thing over and over. Life gets in the way. You know, you're not getting paid millions of dollars to do it, so life gets in the way, and can't make training this night. Oh yeah, I can't make it next week, and all right, I'm going to step away for a little bit. You know,
so what did you do with yourself in that time?
Oh, just went about my life really. It was just like sometimes, you know, if someone's playing for a local basketball team and then they go, oh, I'm not going to play next season. And that's all it was, you know. Go back to work, and that's pretty much it.
Were you still training and eating like you were a wrestler, or did you just completely go, no, I'm out?
I never trained and ate like I was a wrestler. There was no muscles on Buster. You know, I was lucky enough to have a good metabolism that I could eat whatever I wanted and not put on weight. But by the same token, that also meant a 68 kilo skinny kid in the ring. So I didn't have the wrestler muscle bound look or anything. But you know, because I had a good metabolism, at least I didn't get fat.
That's right.
But yeah, so I never really trained that hard in the physical sense of, you know, running and weights and that sort of thing. But I definitely trained very hard in the ring, which is pretty strenuous on the body anyway. So
of course,
it's very difficult to put on weight when you're doing.
So what then led you back into wrestling the second time?
You just get itch for it. You know, like I said, I was a character and I was a performer. So, you know, you go to a couple of shows and you start, you know, tapping your foot and thinking, you get back up there, you know, and you always think you can do better. Oh, if I was in that match, I would have done this and that. You know, so yeah, you always think you can do better, and you think, well, if you think you can do better, get in and do it. And so you get a little itch to go back, and you get back out there, and it's fun again, and everything feels new again. And
So what did you do in the second run then? So you walked away.
The second run was back to Joint Promotions Wrestling at the time. They had a few name changes, roughly the same crowd, a few changes in management and stuff. So I came back to Joint Promotions Wrestling. They had at the time they had a lightweight title, which I was able to win a couple of times, both off Johnny Raddick, which I reminded you of.
I've seen your pattern here.
Yeah, we fought many times. We had a lot of wars, but so I took the belt a couple of times, which was good fun. Lost it to Damien Slater, who knocked me out in the ring twice, but no,
what happened there?
Nothing his fault. He, we did a little spot where he threw a kick, bounced off the ropes. He was throwing a high kick. I didn't know who was going to do it. Straight in the face. So it was out for just to see, just that thing of like 1, 2, and you wake up. Oh, yeah, I'm still in the ring. Everything was fine, and then finishing move, did his pile driver and copped a little bump on the head for that as well. Yeah, it was sort of part and parcel of wrestling. Sometimes you cop a bit of a bump. I don't think he did anything unsafe or anything like that. But yeah, lost the title to him. So in that time, it was sort of about a lot of the smaller guys were revolving around that title, which was good. Certainly wasn't going to see too many main events. Being the smaller guys, you've got to accept that. People are going to pay to see the big boys. But it was good to have a little some storylines and a title to chase.
At least you had a division.
Yeah,
as opposed to just being job guys.
Exactly. So easy to fall into the shadows when there's nothing to fight for.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think that's detrimental to the show sometimes as well.
That's the thing. Well, what's the point of these matches if all you're fighting for is a W?
Yeah.
You've got to have some incentive to get there. Like for instance, the AWWA show where the matches were all to try to get into the scramble match or into the the opportunity to run for it. At least the matches serve a purpose.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, it's just two guys kicking each other.
Absolutely, yeah. You got to engage the crowd somehow, and if that's a title or a storyline or a stipulation, best way to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So have you ever had anybody shoot on you in the ring?
No, I can't.
No, that's right.
Hear a lot of guys doing strong style now.
Yeah.
Something I'd never heard of until recently, really. I always just thought strong style was you being a dick. I just thought, why would you hit each other so hard? Make it look good, but let's not hurt each other in the ring. Yeah. It's a show for crying out loud.
But we all know it's.
Yeah, I don't get the strong style. I think it can look good, and if you've got two guys that are willing to beat the hell out of each other, fill your boots. But but if you're in the ring with me, I don't expect you to forearm you as hard as you can into the jaw. Make it look good, and I'll make you look good. But yes, I never really had anyone shoot in the ring. I certainly wasn't going to do that myself either.
That's fair enough. Maybe probably a good thing to have as a wrestler, not shooting on people.
So. Yeah, I think so.
So anyway, so you said you come back. So you get your itch. So you decide to come back. And then when is it that you decide, no, that's it, hanging up the boots?
I just floated in and out of
the do-rag, I should say.
Hanging up the do-rag, yeah. I floated in and out of wrestling. You know the guys that are promoting, and if you get an itch, you come back, you do a bit of training, have a couple of matches. Oh yeah, thanks very much, and I'll duck out again. Just sort of scratch that itch every now and then. But for me, it was just a case of I think it got to the point where I went, you know what, I am not going. Haven't got the passion and the drive to pursue something great. Certainly haven't got the natural size and that sort of thing to be sort of chosen out of a crowd by Vince McMahon or anything. So I thought, you know what, I'm quite happy with the way I've wrestled. It's been a really good hobby and a good ride, but I don't think I don't feel the need to be in the ring anymore. It's just good fun. And while it's just good fun, that's great for me, but it's not what's best for business, you know.
Yeah, passion.
You want people that are passionate, that have got drive, that want to succeed and want to put on awesome shows. And I was really just there because it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. And I like to think I put on a reasonable show, but at the same time, I'll step aside for other people who want to do a better job.
And so when you step away, that's when you went to work for as Fresh as as a radio DJ, is that
correct? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I had a mutual friend between me and Blythe we both went to school with, and she was a DJ on Fresh on the Friday Kaboom show. And I said, how do you get involved at Fresh? And she says, you go and volunteer. It's a volunteer station, it's a community station. So I said, okay. So I went down there and signed up as a volunteer and helped out on the phones for a little while on one of the shows, and then there was an opening on Friday Kaboom, and put my hand up for it and got that. And then me and this guy Trent he's one of my best friends to this day, and we hosted the show together for a few years.
Nice.
And it was lots of fun. Did it for free. People often ask, how much do you get paid? Because Fresh FM in Adelaide has done such a good job of being a radio station that people think it's a legitimate station.
Yeah, exactly. And
it's actually a small community station. Hats off to Fresh, and it was just such a fun time doing that there. And I've never been one to prepare much. And so, me and Trent would rock up at 5 to 4 and say, what are we going to talk about today? And we just make it up on the spot. The good feedback I got is people who heard us would always say, you guys are funny, it sounds like you don't know what you're doing. And I was like, we don't. That's what's good about it. It was fun. We sounded like we were having a good time, so people enjoyed listening to that. And I think there's something to be said for that as well. You can have all the preparation in the world, but if it sounds boring and monotonous, that's what it sounds like. So we just rocked up and made bad jokes and had fun. And that was pretty much it for Fresh FM,
Let's get into the other side of wrestling now. So you've been away from it for a while. What's your view now that you're an ex-wrestler but still a fan of the current state of affairs in this country as far as wrestling is concerned?
Well, I feel like I'm a bit of an outsider as far as local wrestling goes now. I'm pretty much almost reserved to WWE Smart. I can sit back and watch wrestling and know that I've done it, and know all the tricks of the trade, and know a little bit about the business as well. But overall, I'm pretty much just a fan now.
Yep.
So I feel like I'm out of the loop. I go to a local wrestling show. There'll be a bunch of guys I haven't met and don't know. I don't know who wrestles for who. So as far as I'm concerned, in Australian wrestling, no matter who you're wrestling for, put on a good show. Because if I see your face on a poster, I'm almost not looking at the 3 letters in front of wrestling tonight.
Yeah, looking at who the stars are.
I'm looking at who the stars are. I go, I've seen that guy before. He was awesome. And that's all I want to know about. So I think if you're on a wrestling show, put on the best show you can. As far as the state of Australian wrestling, we've got some pretty incredible talent.
Yeah.
I watched some of the matches and I think, it's not far removed from This Is Awesome chance on WWE Raw.
It's NXT level, isn't it? That's why I always think, for me, NXT is better than WWE's main product.
Yes.
And the stuff I see here is at that NXT level.
Yes, NXT is technically wrestling. Wrestling-wise is a better product than WWE puts on. Probably nature of the beast that WWE reaches a wider audience.
Yeah.
You need a broader
Exactly.
But NXT is very
It's nice
wrestling
and niche.
specific.
Yeah.
It's a niche. But yes, we do. We have very, very good quality wrestlers, very good quality matches. So that's a great positive for Australian wrestling, is that we have that quality. We have a few places around now, and you could look at some of the production of the shows now would demolish the production of the shows that we were in. I was in the early 2000s. Just due to technology. Digital cameras,
Exactly.
cheaper everything, cheaper lights and cheaper sound, and cheaper ways of doing things. We had to find a rewritable disc and burn our wrestling theme on it and give it to a guy who would put it into an old CD player to play the iPods now.
Yeah, exactly.
It's ridiculous. So technology has helped out a little bit on the local scene because you can do everything easy. And you can advertise easy through YouTube and Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and everything. It's so, we used to put one article in the paper in the local messenger and put some posters up around, and that was our advertising budget. So Australian wrestling is a real good opportunity to promote itself. And if there's one thing about that wrestling's all about, is promoting.
Yeah, definitely.
Promoting yourself. If you're a wrestler, promote yourself. Promote every match you're in. Promote every show you're at. Because it can only benefit Australian wrestling on the whole, no matter whose letters are in front of the show you're on.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what company you're working for. You promote good wrestling and you put on a good show.
Yep.
You're benefiting Australian wrestling. It's a snowball effect, in my opinion.
Definitely. Now, I know at the moment you don't live in Adelaide, where we're based here. It's been a while, I'm guessing, since you've been in Adelaide seeing the local wrestling that's here. What were your thoughts on seeing the AWA show and the talent that was available here in this state, for instance? Yeah,
well, like I said, I rock up and I know a few faces, but there's guys there I don't particularly know. A couple of old faces that I do know, Jag and Havoc, obviously Damien Slater, growing up with them, working with them, but I don't know Robbie Hart that well. I don't know even Mike Boomer, who I've met a few times. I can say hello to him, have a little chat, but don't know him that well. So it was a good perspective for me because I can look at these guys with fresh eyes and not have the bias of saying, oh, I know that guy, so seeing Damien Slater on CWC, the Cruiserweight Challenge, was great. I can watch and go, geez, how good is he? He did such a good job. But then I think, I can't possibly see that from an objective point of view. Of course I'm going to be behind you.
Exactly.
So, but it was good to see the AWA guys and watching their matches on Saturday night. It was like I said before, just incredible talent, real good quality matches, quality wrestling, and it makes me think, geez, what could be done with just a little bit of luck and a bit of a push of Australian wrestling. We could be really having
what do you think the answer is to getting that push for Australian wrestling?
Well, with the exception of some billionaire coming in and offering everyone as much TV time and contract as they want, that would be nice. But essentially, I think it's gonna be a collaborative effort. Unfortunately, in Australian wrestling, it gets a little bit cliquey. You have these different groups of people putting on their own shows, and they all want themselves to be successful. And I totally understand that. You want your group to be successful. Whether you're AWA or RCW or whatever W's at the end of it. It doesn't matter who we are. You want your group to be successful. But I don't think that any one group in Australian wrestling can be successful. I don't think it can happen. There's not enough people, especially in Adelaide. If you think for a second that you're going to draw anywhere between 500 and 1,000 people to shows in Adelaide when there's 3 or 4 different wrestling crowds in town and no one's promoting each other, it's not going to happen.
So is the answer then that we need these companies need to work together in a cross-promotive effort? So maybe you show up, you're an AWA wrestler, you show up on a Wrestle Rampage show, but you're allowed to wear your shirt.
There's plenty of negotiations that can be made as far as the nitty-gritty of it, but essentially collaboration is the key. If if you're booked on a show, if someone from Wrestle Rampage is booked on an RCW show, feel free to tweet it out, promote it on your Facebook. I'm going to be here at RCW show, I'm going to be wrestling this guy, blah, 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 blah. No matter who you are, no matter who you're wrestling for, if you promote it and you get an extra 10 people to that show and they have a good time, you've just made 10 wrestling fans. They don't care that it's RCW. They won't care. They'll follow you next time because you gave them the ticket and they had a good time. Next time you've got a match, they'll be like, hey, I'm going to go to that. And they're not going to care whether it's RCW or Wrestle Rampage or AWA. They're not going to care. They're going to say, I saw that guy wrestle. It was awesome. It was a great show. And he's promoting another show. Guess who's going? Me. and I'm going to tell some friends. And I think if everybody takes that positive attitude of let's promote the hell out of Australian wrestling, no matter whose letters I'm wrestling for that night, I think that's kind of the only way that's gonna promote Aussie wrestling to a higher standard.
Do you think it's possible with what you've seen for it to become a bigger thing here in the way of having a proper TV presence, or like almost, I don't want to say a WWE of Australia, but an Australian proper federation that is broadcast and a national thing? Do you think that's a possibility?
I honestly do think it's possible.
Yep.
Unfortunately, I don't. It's just going to have to be somebody who takes a chance, and whether it's a Foxtel channel or whether it's a community radio television station, or whether it's Channel 7, 9 or 10 or anything like that, somebody's going to have to take a chance and say we're going to put on a half-hour Australian wrestling show every week, and it's going to be on at midnight on a Wednesday. I don't know, but they're going to have to take a chance but to get there, we need like I said, a collaborative effort. You need to have something to present to them.
Yeah.
And if you've got nothing to present to them, or all you've got is a hodgepodge of egomaniac wrestlers that don't want to be part of a team, then you're not going to. No executive you're going to sign that TV show. You look like a disorganised bunch of backyarders.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to be professional, you got to act professional. And if you're not going to act professional, you might as well just forget about it now. Start aiming for WWE, because we never have anything here. Go to Japan, go elsewhere, because if you want Australian wrestling to be successful, you have to be professional about it.
And I guess from you've obviously stepped away from the ring again. After getting in the ring the other night, did the itch come back at all?
No.
No? Yeah, you were happy? You were content to I'm happy counting, but I don't want to bump?
Bars asked me that afterwards today, what did you think, and do you think you'd wrestle? No, just don't have the urge for it. I loved being in the ring, and anytime you're doing mic spots with Johnny Raddick, it's always a good time, it's always fun, and definitely funny. I'd happily be a general manager, I'd happily be a commentator.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I'd happily be a manager of a wrestler. Unfortunately, living in Mornington, Victoria doesn't really help unless Blase is willing to fly me in and pay a hell of a lot of money. And I wouldn't expect that of him. No, it's just not viable at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to be part of the show. That's fine. But I think I've sort of moved on from wrestling in my life. And
well, as somebody who has moved on, have you got advice maybe for if there's wrestlers out there at that point where they're starting to feel like, it's just becoming more of a pain in the ass. It's harder to get up and down, but sometimes it's hard to walk away. Have you got any advice for those guys of
give up? No. It's if you feel like it's not for you anymore, stop wrestling. Take a break from it. You might get the itch to come back. Become a manager. Help out with promoting shows. Do what you can do. If you love wrestling and you want to be part of it, be part of it. But be part of the bit you want to be part of. If you don't want to wrestle or anything, this is just a chore. Why are you doing it? You're not going to be putting on your best. Anytime you go out to the ring and you don't want to be there, you're not having your best match. So take a step back. And let somebody who wants to be there, and come back later when you're a bit more revitalised, if that's your way of thinking.
Is there anything you'd like to see, aside from strong style, because it irritates you, is there anything you'd like to see eliminated from wrestling? Is there something that you look at and just go, like for me, for instance, it's chair shots to the head without unprotected. It's like, if you do it, in my opinion, you're a fucking idiot.
I couldn't care less. I've always when we started wrestling, we had a hardcore title in PWSA. That was the first title belt we had. I certainly wasn't going to be in any of those matches because I wasn't willing to go through a table full of thumbtacks and set it on fire for my $50 pay at the end of the night. It just wasn't viable or worth it. So if you want to get hit in the head with a chair, I actually don't care if you do. I think you might be an idiot, but I don't care if you want to do that. And if that's part of the show and you want to take that shot. But you have to be face consequences of that, and the person doing it to you, they have to face consequences as well.
So there's nothing you'd particularly.
As far as taking out things from wrestling, there's not so much in the way of movesets and things like that, but I would urge wrestlers to be a little bit more character driven. I know that the big push on for indie wrestling styles at the moment. Certainly WWE has Kevin Owens and AJ Styles as their champions at the moment. Both very much more indie style wrestling based wrestlers.
Both characters, though.
Both great characters, though. And, you know, that's the difference. So I think some of the guys in this, I've seen in the local Australian scene, are unbelievable wrestlers. Technically sound, unbelievable wrestlers, can perform any move.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's what wrestling's all about. If wrestling was just about performing moves, then amateur wrestling would be huge.
I'm going to say the Olympic Stadium would be packed with wrestling.
Yeah, it'd be packed with wrestling. So it's obviously about characters and telling a story.
Yeah.
So I think that guys need to really focus on that character-driven stuff. Watching Elliot Sexton milk a right hand for about 8 minutes was one of the funniest and most entertaining things I've ever seen. And I don't remember anything else from that match. You know, so for me, he was the focal point of the match. Yeah. And he made himself the focal point of that match by overacting, let's say, making Dolph Ziggler look like a no-sell. He was the focal point of that match, and he's the part I remember. And I think as general public will remember a character, they'll remember Johnny Raddick's mic spot and Elliot Sexton's overacting, possibly more than anything else on the show, because the general public aren't wrestling aficionados. You know, the general public are the general public. They're general wrestling fans that came to see a show. You know, most of them think that it's a big joke anyway. So if you come and you take it too seriously, they go, well, that was impressive. No, not as entertaining as I thought it was going to be. That's the way I see it anyway. And obviously,
I guess the other thing too is if you want to see two guys kick shit out of each other, you've got UFC, you've got kickboxing, you've got boxing. Like, absolutely. You don't need that in wrestling. Absolutely. As you say, it's the pomp and the circumstance and all of that. I guess in closing, we'll wrap this up with your thoughts. Heading into the AWA's grand final, obviously it's going to be a pretty big stat card, but the main event, as you saw, Rocky winning his title and going defended against Maniac, inside a steel cage. What are your thoughts just on that match in and of itself?
I'm actually not going to be in Adelaide for that match, and I'm spewing. I'm a little bit upset about that because I think Rocky is one of the better performers over the past 15 years in Australian wrestling. I think he does personify a little bit of that. He can wrestle, he can go toe-to-toe with anyone and match up with anyone, but he's got a hell of a lot of personality as well. And I'm saying that to you, Rocky, because I know that sometimes you get down on yourself and your ego gets a little bit low. So I just want to pump you up a bit.
Rocky definitely has a problem with his ego.
He definitely has a problem with his ego and his arrogance. He's maybe a little bit too arrogant sometimes, and that's just in the back. But Rocky's great, and I'd be very happy to see Wayne and him go at it. Wayne has got everything about the look of a wrestler that you want to put on a poster. He's a giant
Wayne's
monster.
A marquee monster.
He is. He's a monster, and he's got the muscles. And I don't know that he needs to know too many wrist locks and hammer locks to win this match. I think maybe it might get a little bit more violent than that. I don't think there'll be a lot of that chain wrestling going on when Rocky meets Wayne. And I think, like I said before, sometimes the general public are clamouring for that. The general public love to see a big, strong guy beat up an arrogant prick like Rocky Monero.
Especially inside a cage.
Especially inside of a cage. You know, who doesn't love a cage match?
Exactly.
So very much looking forward to that match. And it'd be very interesting to see what happens. Rocky's a good wrestler, and I really don't know who's going to take that match out.
It's definitely going to be a good one.
I genuinely do not know who's taking that match.
Well, I'm sure eventually the DVD will come out. I'm sure Blazer will sneak a bootleg copy if nothing else.
Could do.
I
do know a bloke who knows a bloke, so I reckon I could get a copy.
Nice. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure having you on, Buster. Thank you. If you're ever back down to Adelaide again for the AWWA shows, absolutely stop by again. We'd love to have you here. Is there anything in parting you'd like to say?
Anyone who's seeing this, get down to a show. The one thing that we always hear, and I always heard it when I was wrestling 15 years ago, and we still hear it to this day. People go to the shows, and then they go afterwards, geez, that was good. Can't believe how good it was. I can't believe how professional they are. I can't believe how talented they were. It's just like WWE. That's what we hear all the time. And it really is. It really is a great show. It's a lot of fun. You can have a couple of beers if you're a dad, or if you're a mum, if you like a beer, but a couple of beers, and the kids love it. And AWA is a family entertainment as well. There won't be extreme violence at these shows. You can take the kids and have a good time. And like I said, nobody has ever walked out disappointed.
Yeah, I've found that as well. Well, Buster, thank you very much.
No worries.
All the best, my friend.
Thank you.
Thank you. This has been Buster on behalf of myself, Adam Gerard. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Good night.